Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 2A News with Craig DeLuz, coming to you live from Houston, Texas at NRA 2026, their 155th annual meeting and exhibits. I had a chance, and I'm gonna wrap up the show this year with a good friend, someone who I've known for well over a decade now. Someone who has been an active fighter in the gun rights community, and he's fighting in the same state where I am. So like me, he is behind enemy lines, behind that iron curtain otherwise known as the Sierras. And now I'm at one end of the state, he's at the other. And that would be my good friend, Mr. Michael Scwartz with San Diego County Gun Owners and Gun Owners Radio.
There you go. How you doing, man?
I am doing phenomenal, sir. I'm doing really good. This has been a phenomenal show.
Yeah, it really is. I'm so glad you invited me on the show. I love it. I love the 2A News with DeLuz. I think that's great. I'm jealous that I wish I had a more interesting last name where I could rhyme and do alliteration like that. There's nothing I can do with Schwartz. I don't know, Warts with Schwartz, it wouldn't work as well.
Well, see, you remember I used to have the show called Coffee with Craig.
Yep.
Right? Well, you know what we would do when we were at SHOT, when we would do the evening event, we would do Booze with DeLuz.
I know, I'm so jealous. It's so great. But anyway, thank you for having me on. The show's been great. I'm so glad they put our booths right next to each other. And I haven't been to an NRA show in, I don't know, 10, 12, maybe 15 years. And this is great, man. I'm adding it back to my rotation. I'm coming back next year too.
Well, it's a must. Like I've been telling other folks, it's like the ability for the public to see us, right? To see the media that a lot of the folks had no idea we existed.
Yeah.
We existed, and now we get a chance to be like out there, and they get a chance to see us, and they get a chance to hear us, and hopefully it'll help grow all of our audiences.
I think, well, this Media Row concept is awesome with all the influencers and podcasts and everything, and I realize that it benefits everyone. It benefits the folks that are making the content, but then I'm realizing that all the vendors and the NRA, they get to get their message out through us, and that benefits them.
Well, exactly. It makes it even more worth it for them to be here.
Yeah.
So now I want you to tell folks, because I really like what you do. With San Diego County Gun Owners, what I really appreciated was you saw a need, and you didn't wait for somebody else to play. You decided that you saw something that needed to happen, and it's something that I feel is very, very important. And I want our audience to hear about it, because I think this is something that anybody can really make happen in their community if they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, I mean, there really just wasn't an emphasis on Second Amendment in the political world in San Diego. And San Diego is a county, we have it's like 3.5 million people, which makes us bigger than 17 other states, something like that. There are 18 cities in the county of San Diego, the biggest being San Diego, which has, I don't know, 1.2 million or something, 1.3 million. I was talking to the Attorney General of Montana, and the entire state of Montana has 1.2 million people after an influx of 100,000 people. And that's just the city of San Diego. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot going on in San Diego. So there really just wasn't this emphasis at all on Second Amendment. It was all on tax policy. There was a little bit of immigration because we're right on the border. And I was completely and totally unsatisfied with that. So I decided to take a look around, what organizations were getting people elected, and what did they have in common? What did they look like? How did they operate? And I recreated what worked, but emphasized nothing but Second Amendment. And it was that simple. And then the rest is just a lot of really, really hard work, getting the word out, getting people to, become a member, donate their time, donate their dime. And then every project, every issue that came along, whether it was a city council that was trying to do something stupid for your Second Amendment rights or whatever, we'd jump on it. We'd jump on it like it was the most important thing in the world. I really try to take emphasis away. I don't know if emphasis is the right word. I try to get people to not focus so much on the White House and Congress, and not even focus so much on Sacramento. Focus on Main Street, where you can actually make a change. vote for state and federal and donate, candidates, that sort of thing. But honestly, you can move mountains on these city councils, county board. The anti-gunners have taken the fight to your main street, and that's the purpose. That's what we've done. That's how we've been successful.
Now, one of the things that I think we all know, the hardest thing in politics is raising money. And while groups like the NRA might donate money, they don't necessarily help you raise money. And that's one of the things you guys put a lot of emphasis on, right?
We have to. I mean, the reality is any organization, any business, any political campaign, you have to have money. Especially the right side of the political aisle had this attitude of, this benevolence. Hey, we should just do it. We should just volunteer. And there are definitely a lot of things that volunteers can do effectively, but there are a lot of things in the political world that you need someone there professionally organizing. You need to be able to support candidates financially. There's a lot of things that just quite simply require money. Now, we're a PAC, we're a political action committee, we're a political organization. So all the money we raise is political money. And a lot of people have heard of PACs and super PACs, and we're kind of the Joe or Jane lunchbox of PACs. So we're not doing, $5,000 a plate dinners. We're doing $10 a month or $100 per year, that sort of thing. There's a pro-business PAC in San Diego that is very similar. I borrowed a lot of their structure to create San Diego County Gun Owners. We have 10 times the number of members that they have. 10 times the number of members that they have. They raise 3 times as much money as we do.
Wow.
And it's because, they've tapped into what I call the donor class, people that can throw down, 5 or even 6 figures per election cycle. So how are we going to compete with that? Well, we're going to compete with that with numbers. Right. We're going to get people to make smaller donations consistently, and then we're going to take that money and spend it politically.
Well, there you go. And that's, folks, I know, I get it. People are like, oh, we want money out of politics. But number one, when everything is all volunteer, the number one, you only get what they have left over, right? They will work the 8-10 hour day, and then you get what's left over. You also have to realize that oftentimes you're going up against very well-paid professionals. Right?
You just hit the nail on the head. I don't think people fully understand what a well-paid, well-trained, professional political person can do. It's like any profession. You don't want the cheapest brain surgeon. You want the most talented, heavily compensated brain surgeon. But yeah, there's definitely a chasm between the most talented political operative and the least talented political operative, and they can really truly do damage. You're absolutely right.
Now, is there a nexus between, other than guns, is there a nexus between San Diego County Gun Owners and Gun Owners Radio?
Well, yeah, good question. So Gun Owners Radio is a separate entity, a separate project. What happened was a couple years ago, San Diego County Gun Owners is about 10 and a half years old now. So about a year and a half into San Diego County Gun Owners, one of the board members said, hey, I know a guy who's got a radio show. We should do a radio show. I didn't know anything about radio. I'd never done anything. I'd never broadcast, or it wasn't my thing at all. But I said, all right, well, let's see what we can do. They basically wanted me to be on the radio show and talk about what we were doing with San Diego County Gun Owners, be like the political voice on this radio show. And at the time, it was called Gun Sports Radio. After not too long, a year, maybe 2 years, I was contributing more and more and more. We eventually realized that it had become the mouthpiece of San Diego County Gun Owners and Orange County Gun Owners and Inland Empire Gun Owners. So we changed the name to Gun Owners Radio, made the logo look more like San Diego County Gun Owners logo, and it's just become the the bullhorn for everything that we do.
That's that's important, because once again, when you started San Diego County Gun Owners, were you active at all in the Second Amendment community, or were you just someone who just were you part of other organizations, or what was your involvement before?
Okay, so that's a good question, and the reason it's a good question is I think that people think that they can just get up off the couch and immediately jump into like a position of influence or leadership. In 2008, I attended my first activist meeting at an NRA members council meeting in San Diego. I got involved in everything I could possibly get involved in. Campaigns, a guy running for sheriff, a guy running for Congress, a guy running for city council. I just showed up and said, hey, put me to work, and I learned a lot. I got involved in the Republican Party, the local San Diego County Republican Party. I did as much as I possibly could to be as useful as I could and learn. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes, but I also did a lot of things right. So by 2015, the end of 2015 is when we finally launched San Diego County Gun Owners. I actually walked away from my career in banking to run San Diego County Gun Owners. But that's 2008 to 2015. That's a lot of time and a lot of work. At one point, I was doing 30, 40 hours a week of volunteer work dedicated to mostly politics, but it was Second Amendment. So there were, I would do my regular day job, and then at night and on the weekends, I was doing, 30, 40 hours a week of volunteer work because I loved it, because I absolutely loved it. It wasn't the plan to launch an organization or do it professionally. So there was a good, 7 years or so of hard work before we launched San Diego County Gun Owners.
So now, how many other county gun owner chapters are there?
There's separate entities. There's the San Diego County Gun Owners PAC, there's the Orange County Gun Owners PAC, and then there's the Inland Empire Gun Owners PAC. And Inland Empire is Riverside County and San Bernardino County. So there's currently 3.
Did you guys help them get started?
Those are all, absolutely. Those are all, it's the same branding, it's same blueprint, same mission statement. I run all 3, but yeah, absolutely, all the same. All the same, separate entities. The money in Orange County stays in Orange County. The money in Inland Empire stays in Inland Empire. The money in San Diego stays in San Diego, for the most part.
Well, we might need to get you to become, both ends of the state, try and get you up in Sacramento County, get a Sacramento County Gun Owners going.
That really is the plan. There's 58 counties in California. We don't need 58 organizations, but I think we need about 7 or 8 in strategic places. Bay Area, LA, Sacramento. That's definitely the plan. And it works. We've proven it works. San Diego County Gun Owners is by far the biggest of the 3. But we've gotten a lot of things done. We've been in the way and stopped bad public policy from being implemented. We've implemented good public policy. We've done a ton of training and brought people into the shooting sports. We've gotten people elected. We've gotten our message out in the mainstream media. We've done a ton of really effective, good work that I'm very proud of.
How do folks follow the work that you do?
Go to SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com or SDCGO.org. SDCGO.org.
And how do they listen to Gun Owners Radio?
Go to YouTube.com/GunOwnersRadio, or just go to GunOwnersRadio.com. GunOwnersRadio.com has all the links. We broadcast every Sunday from 5 to 7 in California on California time, and then you can follow us on social media or on YouTube, and you can see our segments all week.
Mike, thank you so much.
You bet, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you hopefully one day soon back in California.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on. All right, folks, that's it for this episode of 2A News with Craig DeLuz. This is going to be it for us broadcasting from the NRA annual conference here in Houston, Texas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We'll be back later this week with more stuff from the 2A News studio. Y'all take care.
Hey, dude. Oh, hey.
It's one of my members from San Diego.